Yeah. I'll just start with giving you some backstory. Alright, so we've been planning this for a while. So this week, for Thanksgiving, I went up all the way to Minnesota. Damn low battery, you little Yeah, because I'm from Minnesota and now I'm in Colorado. So it was a pretty long drive there and back. Yeah, I drove. It was a drive. Which was very boring, at least. I had this fidget cube on the way there where I just kept doing this. And on Tuesday of this week, I went to 7 record stores. 7. And I have these laid out in chronological order from which stores I got them from because I just went on CLC Music, which, if you don't know, it's a music cataloging app. You take your CD, and then on the back, wait, no, not that one. No, that one won't work. All right. So you take your CD, and on the back you scan the little barcode with your phone, and it adds it to your collection. So I use that, just sort it out by most recently scanned, and here we are. So I'm going to start with the first record store, Cheapo, number 1. With the first CD I got from there, Coroner, No More Color, excellent Swiss extreme metal. Very similar to Celtic Frost. If you're a fan of Celtic Frost, definitely check out Coroner, but I prefer Coroner. And No More Color, it's an excellent album. It was released in 1989. Should really check it out if you're into that extreme metal Celtic Frost sort of stuff, because Celtic Frost is Swiss, so is Coroner, so definitely check them out if you haven't listened to them. Then from the same store, we got Kiss, Sonic Boom, released in 2009. I cannot find this album on any streaming sites at all. None of them have it. So if you find one that does have it, comment it down below. But Kiss Sonic Boom was released 2009, and this comes with the album as well as a Kiss Classics. It's a compilation album with a bunch of Kiss songs. I'm not going to name all of them because I don't have time, as well as a live DVD live in Buenos Aires. Sonic Boom, it's a pretty decent album. It's their second most recent album. Their most recent is 2012's Monster. They haven't been around for 10 years. Yeah, it's crazy, but Sonic Boom, it's still a solid album. So Kiss, Sonic Boom. And still from that same cheapo, we got Pink Floyd, Wish You Were Here. I'm a huge fan of Pink Floyd. I love their psychedelic progressive rock. They're probably one of my favorite classic rock, progressive rock bands. And I have a Pink Floyd shirt, and of course it's Dark Side of the Moon. It would be cool to have a Wish You Were Here shirt, though, because this is an excellent album. I mean, Shine On You Crazy Diamond, that's a great two-parter song, as well as Welcome to the Machine, and Have a Cigar, which Primus covered on the Miscellaneous Debris EP right there. And there's also the title track, which is excellent. It's a great, solid album by an excellent band. And now, on to the next record store, Cheapo number 2, with Power Trip Nightmare Logic. Power Trip, they're a new wave of thrash band. This album was released 2017. It's their second album. What year did their first album come out? 2014? I believe 2013, something like that. I'm not sure. Nightmare Logic, it's their best well-known album, mainly for the song Executioner's Tax, Swing of the Axe. That song was big. But I'm a big fan of Power Trip. They might be my favorite newer thrash metal band. I'm also a pretty big fan of like Evil, Municipal Waste, those guys, but Power Trip, they're great. And yeah, Nightmare Logic. And then from that same store, we have something that is a very good find for me. Overkill, WFO. If you don't know, WFO stands for Wide Effing Open. This is a great Overkill album. It was released in 1994. Overkill albums are incredibly hard to find. I only have 4 Overkill albums. I have this, Horoscope, Under the Influence, and White Devil Armory. Yeah, this is 94. It's the bass in Overkill has always been loud from Dee Verney. You can always hear it in the mix, but WFO, you can the bass is pretty basically. See what I did there? That was no pun intended, actually. I didn't intend that, but you can really hear the bass on this album from Dee Dee. I got this for $17, but it was by far worth it because it's an excellent album. And if you don't know, WFO has the most songs for an Overkill album. It has 99 songs. Now, if you look on here, there's only 11 songs. It's because there's 98 tracks of silence. No, not 98, like 87. 88 tracks of just silence. And then there's a cover of Black Sabbath's Heaven and Hell, which really isn't too good, so I just won't skip it when Gasoline Dreams over. That's just it. Yeah, WFO. Great. Next record store, Down in the Valley. They're great. Probably the record store that felt the most familiar to me, which is weird. But yeah, we got Black Sabbath, Dehumanizer. It was the last album with Ronnie James Dio until the Heaven and Hell album, the Devil You Know, because that's basically Black Sabbath. They just didn't want to call it Black Sabbath, so they didn't have to play stuff like Iron Man and War Pigs at shows. But Dehumanizer, it's a great underrated Sabbath album. It was released in 92 around. When Black Sabbath, no one really cared about Black Sabbath after the 2 other Dio albums. I mean, like, Tony Martin era stuff, that stuff is excellent. Like, and also check out Born Again. Yeah, like, Eternal Idol, Tear, Headless Cross, those are all great stuff. Dehumanizer is also great, Ron James Dio. Definitely check it out if you haven't. Listen to it. And also from that same place is Testament, Brotherhood of the Snake. This was released 2016. And it is an excellent Testament album. I did see Testament live earlier this year with Exodus and Death Angel on the Bass Strikes Back tour. Great show. They played the song The Pale King, which is probably the strongest song on the album. But it's just a strong album in general. I'm a huge fan of all the newer Testament albums. Starting with The Gathering, they really upped their game after Demonic. Because Demonic, yeah, it's for sure a death metal album, but even though I'm a fan of death metal, I mean, I'm wearing an Obituary shirt. Even though I'm a fan of death metal, it really isn't that great of an album. Then The Gathering, Formation of Damnation, Dark Roots of Earth is okay. Why the hell is Tom Morai on that cover? Brotherhood of the Snake as well, and the newest album, Titans of Creation, that's also great. But Brotherhood of the Snake, also excellent album. Check it out. And now on to cheapo number 3. I know a lot of them. With Suicidal Tendencies. How Will I Laugh Tomorrow When I Can't Even Smile Today? Great album. This was around when Suicidal was getting heavier and heavier. It was released in 1988. The album before this, Join the Army, released in 1987. Was still probably a punk album after their For Sure Punk debut album. And then with Lights, Camera, Revolution, they just went full crossover thrash, and then slowed down on Art of Rebellion, because why the hell not? But How They Laugh Tomorrow it's excellent album. I mean, Trip the Brain, Pledge Your Allegiance, title track, Sorry, Feelings Back, all great classic Suicidal Tendencies songs. And then Alice Cooper, Raise Your Fist and Yell. Alice Cooper, I'm a huge fan of him. Alice Cooper was the first artist I ever saw live in concert, so I love him so much. Raise Your Fist and Yell. It was released in 1987 when he had more heavier stuff, which it's definitely his best stuff, like that era, Trash, Raise Your Fist and Yell, Last Temptation, Hey Stupid, all that stuff. Excellent albums. Raise Your Fist and Yell is one of the best ones from it. I mean, Freedom, Give the Radio Back, Prince of Darkness, Roses on White Lace, Chop Chop Chop. Great stuff. And then last from that store, Voivod, Dimension Hatros. I love Voivod very much. This is my very first Voivod album. Part of the big four of Canadian thrash, as well as Annihilator, Razor, and Sacrifice. But this is a great album, released in 1989. Was it 90? No, Nothing Face was 1989. This was 1988. But it is a great album. I love these liner notes. If you want to pause and read it. I mean, Experiment, Chaos Mongers, Trap Convictions, Brain Scan, Psychic Vacuum. Great stuff on this album. And then on to Extreme Noise, which is more of a punk record store, which is why I was able to get a Pink Floyd album for $3. If you don't know, around when punk was big, Pink Floyd was like the album that people were like, Pink Floyd was the band that people were like, they suck. Pink Floyd, we're anti-Pink Floyd. Which is why I was able to get a double disc Pink Floyd with The Wall for only $3 there. It's a great double album. I mean, Another Brick in the Wall, Comfortably Numb has probably the best guitar solo of all time. It's excellent stuff. What did I just do? Yeah, great stuff. And then also from that store is what you've been staring at this whole time. This Obituary Slowly Rot shirt. If you want cheap metal and punk band shirts, definitely go to Extreme Noise. I got this shirt for only $15. What? And then we just have one more store, Half Price Books. Starting out with Nativity in Black, a tribute to Black Sabbath. This was a Black Sabbath tribute album released in 1994. And it has like Biohazard, White Zombie, Megadeth, Corrosion of Conformity, Sepultura, Ogie Kajil, and Typo Negative on it. Doing covers of Sabbath songs. And it's probably the best tribute album ever. If you want to go ahead and read all these liner notes, go ahead. But it's great. I mean, some highlights on here would probably be Megadeth's cover of Paranoid, which also appeared on the Hidden Treasures compilation album, as well as Corrosion of Conformity's Lord of this World, Sepultura's Symptom of the Universe, and I love Typo Negative's version of Black Sabbath, and even more doom metal version of that song. But yeah, great stuff. And then we have the cheapest thing, Tesla Psychotic Supper. I got this for only $1. It was in the clearance section. It is excellent. Tesla is one of the greatest hard rock bands to ever exist. They're great. I mean, just listen to The Great Radio Controversy and you'll see what I'm talking about. But Psychotic Supper, it was released in 1991, and it has a lot of great stuff like Edison's Medicine, Don't Derock Me, Call It What You Want, Government Personnel, Stir It Up, Can't Stop. This is great. stuff. And the fact that I got it for only $1 is great, and I was going to get it at another store, but the disc was too scratched up, so I didn't. And then I got it for clearance for $1, and the disc was perfectly fine. And then the last thing is the coolest and the second most expensive. This was $15. Judas Priest, Nostradamus book. This thing is a really cool, even though Nostradamus isn't the greatest album Judas Priest have ever done, it's still pretty good. Better than Demolition. Yeah, and the lady at Half Price Books, when we were checking out, she didn't know that this was a CD, and we had to tell her, and she opened it up and was like, oh. I mean, I can understand because it's a bookstore and this is a book, but I can understand where she's getting from. I also have another book that you guys literally never see, this Frank Sinatra thing. This thing is sweet. Nostradamus. It's a double disc album. It's the first disc and the second disc back. Yeah, this was only $15. And yeah. So that is going to do it for this. I'm going to go listen to some Thin Lizzy. See you later.